y'all, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review the Sandman. This is gonna be a long one because I'm gonna recap episode 4 and 5, and baby, let me just say, a lot happened. So let's get into it, y'all. So I'm gonna do this one a little different. Normally when I do the reviews, I switch back and forth, but I think this will make it a lot quicker so we can get to episode 5 so we can talk about that mess. But I'm gonna try my best. So honestly, in episode 4, which is called A Hope in Hell, there were two situations going on at once. We had Matthew and Dream in hell, and then we had Rosemary and John. So I'm gonna start off with Rosemary and John. So with John, the first scene that opens up with them is John is still dazed and confused after breaking out of prison and killing all those people, after Ethel has aged to 116 in his very arms and died. So he's dazed and confused. You can tell that he probably has sensory overload because it looked like he'd been in that prison box for a good while. So he's trying to walk across the crosswalk, but unfortunately he loses his slipper. So then instead of just walking across the crosswalk like normal people would do and then like wait until they don't see any cars, pick up what they got to go and dip out, he turns around, goes down like a child to pick up his slipper. And then before that happens, he almost gets hit, but the car stops. And that's where we meet Rosemary, which seems like she was a sweet black lady. So Rosemary is like, oh my God, like, I am so sorry. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Like, are you all right? And she's like, do you need a ride somewhere? Because she can tell that there's something off with John, because John is basically saying he don't really know where he is. She explains to him where he is, basically. And then she also offers like, hey, I can drive you where you need to go. It was 2 red flags and that I'm like, girl, what are you not? 2 ways her danger sense should have went off. 1, you are black, and why are you picking up a strange white man in his pajamas who almost got hit by a car? Call 911 so they can come pick him up. Number 2, you are a woman. Why are we picking up a strange white man? Call 911 so they can come pick him up and get him to safety. Ain't no way. Even with a rock roller in the back, because we end up finding out she has a Roddy in the back of her car named Susan. Cute dog. Always kind of wanted one, but don't know if I'm ready for that. My family has always had small dogs. So I was just kind of like, Susan, even with the rock roller, why are you putting this man in your car? Why? And then for him to sit behind you, he needs to sit either beside you. Matter of fact, he doesn't even need to be in your car. You should have never put the man in your car. So they're driving. She says she's going to take him to where he needs to be. And it's basically John is going to pick up his Ruby. He like, baby, I'm free. I'm picking up my Ruby. So as they're driving, like riding in the car, they start to have a talk. Like Rosemary is trying to have small talk and small conversation with him, and she's just like, how are you, like, what's been going on with your life, trying to understand him. And then John is like, yo, my mom recently died a little while ago. And like Rosemary's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So I think in her mind that kind of was like, oh, okay, I get it why he's acting that way. He probably just had the shock of his life that his mom just died. But then she should have known something was up when he was talking about his mom, because John's thing was like, she wasn't that great of a person. And Rosemary, while she's driving, is like, really? And she was like, my mom's not that great of a person either. And then John is like, oh my God, like, oh, I have someone to connect with to tell me like their person is just like, their mother was just as worse as mine. But then Rosemary's like, all she does is watch cable news all day, every day, nothing else. I said, Rosemary, that's not, I hope I ain't been calling that lady Rosemary, but Rosemary, I'm just like, ma'am, that's not a horrible mom compared to Miss Ethel Crimps. So then John is kind of like looking at her like, girl, whatever. And he starts to explain like, my mom was like a successful thief. And then she stole people's jewelry, identities, you name it. That's why we were always on the move. She was always lying to me. She never was honest up until today when she died. And so then Rosemary jumps in and she's like, well, maybe she did all of that to protect you. And then John says, spoken like a true parent. Like, are you a parent? And Rosemary's like, yeah, I have 2 daughters, Samantha and Sarah. And then you hear, 2 daughters, Samantha and Sarah. So then John's like, do you lie to them? Like the way he was like, do you lie to them? Kind of like, girl, if you say you do, he might kill you. And she was like, she didn't even say if she lied to them or not. She diverted the question to their father. She was like, no, their father is the one that lied to them. He lied to the whole family. He had a whole family and a whole family saying that he had like a wife and a kids in another state. And then John is just like, oh my God, the betrayal. It's sitting in the back seat. So out of nowhere, John starts like telling her what he did. Basically, that man did arson. He caused general mayhem, and we figure out how he caused general mayhem. He caused murder. And then John's whole thing is like, but they weren't good people, so you shouldn't worry about them dying anyway. And then you see Susan now get, not Susan, because that's the dog. You see Rosemary now get like uncomfortable when I'm like, you should have been uncomfortable when you put him in the car the first time. So John is in the car still talking about like moral ambiguity. Like, you know, he doesn't really see what he did really wrong because they were after him and they were after the ruby. So he was just protecting himself. So him having to kill him was just what it had to be. It is what it is. That's the energy John is giving. So then they start comparing like human nature. So she was like, humans are fundamentally selfish. John is like, humans are fundamentally selfish. That's why they lie. And then Rosemary is like, Rosemary is like, I think humans lie or people lie because they're afraid. So then John is just kind of like, oh, like you're a good person because I never thought about it that way. I just thought people were being selfish. And she's like, no, like Rosemary is trying to explain like people lie because they don't want to get hurt. They're fearful. They're just trying to like protect themselves, which is true. Honestly, people lie to me, I think people lie for one, for gain, for protection. Yeah, it's two reasons. It's really to protect yourself, whether it be physically or emotionally or mentally. And then the other one is for gain, like you're trying to get something out of a situation. So I think that's the two main reasons why people lie. So as she's driving, you see she's using her phone as a GPS to go to where John wants to go. And she's like trying to dial 911, but like she's doing a horrible job. And John is just in the back of the car, like going on and on and on and on. And she almost gets into a wreck trying to like, it's like her phone is like right here and she is ever so slightly trying to move it and then it drops. And he's like, oh, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. Keep talking. And my phone just slipped. I said, girl. So then she's like, can we stop for gas? Even though when she looked at they show you what the gas tanks is looking like, you know, the marker for the gas tank, and she is nowhere near empty. But she's just like, yeah, I got to get to the gas station. I got to call 911. So they get to the gas station. She is like trying to make sure that like maybe there's somebody in there that she could get to call 911. She's like looking for help while she's at the pump. And then she goes inside. She's like, hey, I got to go inside. But then John follows her to go inside. So they're getting food and like snacks because wherever they were trying to go was like maybe an hour or 45 minutes away, which I was like, girl, why would you inconvenience yourself like that for a stranger? But that's just me. So she's talking to the stranger and she's trying to be like, I need you to call 911. And he's like, girl, what? And she was like, I need you to call 911. Like, you're picking up what I'm picking up? John overhears it. And I guess, I don't know if that's an advert, like the effects of having the ruby, but he hears and he can put two and two together that Rosemary is trying to call for help. So then the cashier starts to realize that like, oh, this is like, she really does need help from this man. So he pulls out, his steel, like he ready to pew pew, And then John's like, you don't want to raise that gun to me. And then that's when it popped in my mind. I'm like, crap, he has the amulet of protection. I'm like, sir, put the gun down. Put it down because you're about to die. And so I think the guy fired. And when he fired, just like what happened to the guards on episode 3, he disintegrates. Like he blows up. You hear Rosemary scream. And she is like, oh my God. And so John and her get in the car, and John was like, it's my fault for trusting you. Like, It's my fault, girl. Like, I should have never trusted you. Just like Rosemary should have never trusted you. So then she's like, oh my God, are you going to hurt me? Like, are you? And he was like, no, are you going to take me to the Ruby, to my Ruby? If you take me to my Ruby, it is what it is. There's no reason for me to hurt you. So they finally show up to the where the Ruby is. And it looks like it was in a shipyard, because I saw those ship containers. And he grabs his ruby and he's sized. He is ecstatic. He is happy. He like jubilation here. And then she is like scared, because she's like, oh my God, he's going to take me out because I've already got him to his destination. And so she feels like she's still in the car when he actually goes inside the shipping container to get his ruby. When he walks out, she is like in the car, scared, terrified. And she's like, oh my God, are you going to, like, please just don't hurt Susan. Saying the Rottweiler, like, don't hurt the dog. Just get it over with. Let's move on. And I said, okay, girl. And then John ends up giving her the amulet, basically saying that, there's not any good people out there, but some people are good. So, like, you're going to need this to protect yourself. And she's like, you don't need it. And he was like, no, because I have the ruby. I have my ruby, girl. Like, I don't need that chair, I'm gonna say chairs, that Claire's jewelry. Like, I'm good over here. And then he just rolls out. And I'm like, okay, so, like, what's gonna happen with Rosemary and Susan? Like, is she gonna keep the amulet? Is a demon gonna try to come for the amulet? Either way, I was like, he ain't have to kill that cashier man. He did not have to kill that cashier man. So let's move on to Dream and Matthew in hell. All right, y'all. So we in hell. So we in hell. We see Dream and Matthew made it to hell. Y'all, I like Dream and Matthew's dynamic, because Dream is such like a stoic figure, and Matthew is just somebody who just be like, he's sarcastic, but yet he's not sarcastic to the point of annoyance, because he asks the questions that I be wanting to ask. I think that's why I like Matthew. But they're in hell. Matthew is like flabbergasted that they made it there. He was like, bro, this place is real. Like, look at this. It's real. And Dream is like, to some it is, like, to some it exists. So then Matthew asks a question that I want to ask. So does hell not exist if you don't believe in it? And then Dream is like, did you believe in it when you were a human? And Matthew was like, yes, I did. He said the only thing I didn't think of was that it would be cold. So then they're all they're both speaking, and Matthew's like, so where are we going, bro? Like, where are we going? And then Dream is like, well, I got to meet the ruler of this land. I got to meet Lucifer. And then Matthew's like, so how we going to get there? And Dream's like, well, why don't we follow the dam? Bro, they landed on like a mountaintop, but then when they peeked over it and looked down in the valley, it is a single file line of people carrying like fire on their backs as they entered the gates of hell. I said, ain't that a bee? Like, ain't that a bee? Like, I got to bring my own fire that's going to be used to torture me for the rest of eternity? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So Matthew said they got to bring their own fire. Like, I was with Matthew. I was like, oh, this is wrong. So they followed the dam to the gates of hell. And mind you, the gates of hell are pretty much made out of people. And I didn't put that together until Dream was about to, like, he stopped following them. So then Matthew was like, why are we not going in? And Dream is like, honestly, like, I have to follow protocol. Lucifer is the monarch of this land. I'm the monarch of the dream realm. I have to follow protocol. You don't ever enter another realm without signaling that you're here. Like, I guess that's how it works with monarchs. So we then see like someone that like a statue, but it's really a person, comes out of like this the statue pose to give Dream a drumstick to like bang on this drum as the doorbell. Mind you, it causes everybody in that little like, what's it called, lobby area to hell, agony. Like, he beats, like he hits the drum and then everyone's like, oh, like, you know, like their head is ringing. And then that's what I noticed. Like, the one thing I did like about this episode is when they kept panning out to show like the vastness or what you're really looking at in hell. Is like what you're looking at is not what you're really looking at, or there's more to it, because you just see this person give Dream the drumstick, and then once he hits the drum, when it pans out, you notice that everybody, or like all the interior of this lobby area, is made out of nothing but people. People are just stuck together, like in statue form, just there. And you're just like, my goodness, what did y'all do? So when he hits the gong, the doorman comes named Squatter Blow, who was real rude and petty to my boy. Straight up was like clowning him. Like, Dream was like, I'm here to see Lucifer. Take me to them. Like, I'm here to see him. And Squatter Blow's like, for what, bro? He called my boy a clown. He's like, where your crown at? Like, he was really giving Dream that fever that probably he been wanting to give Dream for forever, just being just rude and nasty. And I said, Squatter Blow, you better calm down. You better calm down with them arrows in your back. Chill out, bro. Chill out. Just stop being rude. So then Dream basically was like, either you gonna let me in, or I can make living here even more worse than what it can be. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, so then that made me put two and two together and realize that like people still dream in hell, which is horrible. Because it's you're dreaming to get out of something that you will never get out of because you're there for eternity. Horrible. Horrible. So Squatter Blood's like, ugh, and decides to let him in. So they're following him to the palace of hell. And as they're walking, they seem to come to like this dying forest, like this dying woods area where it seems like it's been set on fire, and it looks like ashes falling from the sky. And there's like smoke and everything, like it was on fire. So then Dream tells Matthew like this place is ruled by the morning star, or the whim of the morning star. So Matthew's like, the sun? I was like, yeah, the sun. That's probably why, like, man, because the way I was like, what you mean? So then Dream's like, no, Lucifer morning star. So Dream explains the story of Lucifer. And if you haven't heard it, because I remember learning it when I was younger, basically Lucifer used to be Samuel, the angel Samuel. Or is it he Michael? Either way, one of God's beloved angels. But then Lucifer or Samuel got too hot in his britches or her britches or whoever they was. I don't know if genders exist in the realm of the Lord. But got too hot for their britches, decided to try to like uprise against God, and God said no and sent them down here. It will beyond us, down to the ground. So Lucifer Morningstar, and if you don't know, like, I know I saw some people being like, why does he keep calling him Lightbringer? But that's what Lucifer means Lightbringer. So he was calling Lucifer, Dream was calling Lucifer the real name. So Lucifer is like so then they're just like, what? So then Matthew was like, is Lucifer more powerful than you? And Dream is like, right now, yeah, and low key before that. Like, Dream basically said Lucifer power rivals that of like God. Like, God is up here, Lucifer is probably like about like right there. So could the thing if he wanted to. So we then find out that Squatter, what's his name? Squatter Blow is just petty. Squatter Blow don't like Dream, and Squatter Blow said he gonna mess with Dream that while Dream is down on his luck, because they're walking through the forest. Like I said, it looks like it's burning ash, and then all of a sudden this gust of smoke comes up, and Dream doesn't see Squatter Blow anymore. He's like, I know this boy ain't just left me in this woods, because I really don't know where I'm going. So then Matthew's like, oh, I'll fly up and try to see where he's at. As Matthew starts to fly up, he's like, oh, no. And he like hovers back down. They then pan out, and the trees are people. The trees are legitimately like people, like half people, half tree, on fire, or like decaying trees like that have been like turning into ash. It's some man with his face screaming kind of in agony. Then it was like a woman behind him doing the same thing. I said, oh my God, never would I want to go. Even if it don't look like that, I don't want to go. I want to live eternity free and happy. So as they're walking behind, because then all of a sudden Squatter Blow comes back, and he's like, keep up now. I said, you know what, you better knock him out. So they following him. They start going on this like real narrow path, like, and it's like winding, kind of like a corkscrew. And Matthew's like, I don't think he taking us to where we want to go. Like, he doing a lot of turns and twists, and I don't think he taking us to where we want to go. And then Dream is like, honestly, you can't really trust the demon, and you can't really know what they're thinking or what they're trying to do. So as they're walking up this like rickety narrow road, it kind of looks like there's like windows and you see fire coming out the windows. And I'm just like, it looks like a prison. Like, it looks like people in prison. All of a sudden you hear a woman like sniffling kind of, and then she says, Caliucci, and Dream stops like dead in his tracks. Dead in his tracks. And it's like, and then he like morphs into this black guy. And then this pretty black girl pops up. And I'm like, why she in prison? What she do to get down here? And she's like, Dream Lord? I said, oh my gosh, what's going on? And she was like, she was like, forgiveness, have you not forgiven me? And she was like, you know, I can only be set free if you've forgiven me. She was like, do you not still love me? This boy gonna say, girl, it's been 10,000 years, and yes, I still love you. I said, oh my God. Then why you got her in hell and in prison? But he was like, but I have yet not forgiven you. I said, what she do, Dream? What did she do? Because if you say, if it's been a 10,000 years and you still feeling love in your heart, what did she do to you, bruh? So then as they're walking, and you can, while this conversation is happening, Dream is shedding tears. The lady's name is Nadia. Nadia shedding tears. And like, you see Squatter Blow getting off on it, like being petty, just being a disaster and a horrible human being. Well, he's not a human being, he's a demon. So this is his MO. So Squatter Blow is like, because they really didn't rattle Dream. So they're walking, so they're continuing to make their trek to the Palace of Hell. And Matthew's like, bro, who was she? Like me, that's the first, that's why me and Matthew, we cool. Cause I'm like, bro, I'd be like, so who's she, bro? Like, you shedding tears over her. Who is she? Who is this girl? So we find out that Nadia was the ruler of a race of people called the First People. And like, Dream fell in love with her, but then she defied him. So this is her punishment. I want to know, what was the defiance? What did she do? Because if it has to be something like egregious, or very like it did something to Dream, or it hurt other people, for him to think she deserves to be in jail for 10,000 years, or like in prison, or the jail of prison for 10,000 years. I'm like, but you still in love with her, so let her free, forgive her and let her free, let her be free, Dream. So they finally make it to the kingdom of hell. The kingdom actually looked nice. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was like, okay, interior. That's probably not what I should be thinking, but I was like, all right, the interior is nice. The interior is nice. So they make it there. The door opens, blood comes out. We see more people as like basically building blocks for things. They got, the goat heads, and then the pentagram and all that stuff. So we get there and we finally meet Lucifer, or the light bringer. And I'm like, okay, first off, that white outfit sis had on was ugly. Was oogly. I said, girl, you supposed to be a bad one. Why? Like, I'm expecting style. This is ugly. I said, this, and I'm not even exaggerating. In my notes, I have ugly white outfit. That's what I saw when she popped up. It's probably not what I should have been thinking about. So then Lucifer and him are having like a back and forth. We then meet, I guess Lucifer's like right hand woman called Mechanizi of Lithium. I need to Google her to see like who is she? Cause it might have some bill. Cause I know Lilith. I know that story about Lilith, but I'm just like, I don't think that's Lilith, because I feel like they would have called her Lilith if he over here calling Lucifer Lightbringer. So I'm just like, who is Mecca? Y'all know I'm horrible with names. I'm like, who is this lady? Who this woman? Who is she? So like Lucifer is like, what's up, bro? Like, what you doing down here? Being real shady, talking about we ain't seen you in a minute since you've been in prison by mortals. I was like, okay, you ain't had to be disrespectful to him like that, but okay, Lucifer, I get it. As she asked Dream, like, yo, are you here to join forces? Dream's like, girl, you already know how I feel about that. Gone, leave me alone now. He was like, girl, I came down here for my helmet. Where it's at? Because one of your demons got it and I want it. And then she's like, okay, which one? You know the codes down here, which one? And he was like, I don't know which one. So then she summons all the demons to like her palace, and she was like, what do you want us to do? Ask them one by one? Do you want to talk to them one by one? She was being mad rude. I said, you ain't had to be rude like that. Very condescending to that man. She was like, you want us to ask them one by one who got your helmet? And then she like decides to start like lecturing him about relying on his tools, like basically saying tools are nice and all, but they become a trap once you don't have them. And I said, ma'am, I don't think he ain't come down here for all of that. And why you got such an attitude? Okay, why you so spicy? Come on now. So Dream is like, you know what? I don't need that. I got my sand. So he uses his sand and it summons the demon that has his helm. And his name is like Corazon or Coronizon, whatever. He wanted the Dukes of Hell. Okay, a demon. And so Dream's like, give me back my stuff, bruh. And Coron's like, I don't got to. I did a fair trade. Your laws. I follow the laws. I ain't steal this from nobody. What was traded was traded. Like, you ain't getting it. So then unless you want to fight for it. So basically Dream is like proposition for a battle. Corazon, whatever his name is, the demon that got his helmet is basically like, if I win this fight, you have to be my slave forever. If you win, I'll give you back your helmet. It is what it is. So are you gonna take it? And Dream's like, yeah, I'm gonna take it. And so I guess the rules in hell is like for battling and dueling is like, he was like, basically, what are you willing to like, who do you want to be your representative? Dream was like, I'll be myself. I'm gonna represent me, myself, and I. And then the demon picks Lucifer, and she kind of was like happy because I guess there's bad blood between them, which I want to know what happened. But I think we further down the episode we figure out what is happening. So they start to do the fighting. But they look good in them leather suits. Dream look good in his leather suit. Lucifer look good in her leather suit. I said, where was this? Why didn't you open the scene with this outfit? Because that white outfit was dreadful. It was ugly. It was downright ugly. So then they decided to have like this transformation contest or battle, because I thought they was gonna square it up, but they didn't do that. But let's get into that because that was actually really interesting. So the battle's about to start. Before the battle gets away, we have Matthew and Dream having an argument because Dream is telling Matthew to fly back to the dream room and tell Lucian like what's about to happen, because he's like, she doesn't deserve to like sit and wait for me for another 100 years or for eternity. Like, I won't do that to her again. That's not fair to her. So Matthew looking at Dream like, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't about to leave you here in the ops territory. What is wrong with you? I'm not leaving you in enemy territory, bruh. Matthew's like, I'm staying here. I thought it was cute how Matthew kept referring to like Lucifer as Your Majesty because he was scared. He was like, oh no, we're having like a pregame pep talk, Your Majesty. Matthew was like, I don't want to be stuck down here. I don't want to offend nobody. I was tickled. So before they have the battle, Dream just has to like accept that Matthew's not leaving. So they start the battle. Basically, the battle was like a what's that? Like a one-upping match. It reminded me, for you 90s babies like me, about The Sword in the Stone, where Merlin versus that kooky witch that lived in the woods had their beef of transformation, like a sorcerer's duel. This is basically what Dream and Lucifer were having. So Lucifer starts it off by saying, I am a wolf, or a man-eating wolf, or whatever. And then Dream's like, I am a wolf-killing hunter. And like the hunter shoots the wolf with arrows. And I was like, oh, this is about to be boring. But then you see Lucifer begins to bleed. So then my mind's like, oh, so whatever happens to them, or whoever besses the one with the choice, they end up getting hurt by what they do. So you got Lucifer bleeding because she got speared, or the wolf got arrowed by the hunter. So then Lucifer's like, I'm a serpent. And I guess it was a poisonous serpent, because all of a sudden you see Dream has like it looks like he has poison in his body go up the side of his face. He already pale as it is, and it's like black, like his veins are filling with like black fluid. So then he's like, I'm a bird of prey. And if you don't know, birds of prey like hawks and eagles be eating snakes. So then all of a sudden you see Lucifer get like scratched on the face. So then Lucifer's like, I'm a bacterium. And the bird of prey, when they show the bird of prey, its hair begins to like fall out. And then all of a sudden you see Dream start to look like deathly ill. So then Dream's like, I am the world. So then you see Dream and Lucifer like in this beautiful lush field. And then Lucifer's like, I'm a nova, like a supernova, like blowing up. The valley blows up. You got Dream on the ground, looking like just like seasoned up like charcoal. I said, oh my God, is he dead? I thought it was over right there. But then Dream is like coughing, like trying to catch his breath after being blown up, saying he was like, I'm the universe. So I'm like, okay, we like, bro, what's she like? I'm waiting for like what's gonna trump the universe. Then Lucifer basically says, I'm anti-life. I am the beast of judgment. Like, basically, I'm the void of nothingness. And Dream is, like, dying, y'all. Like, y'all know that man is pale as he is turning gray white. And I'm like, oh, my God, he dying. He dying. I said, is it going to end here? I mean, obviously, it wasn't going to end here because it's only episode 4, and I got 10 more episodes to go. Well, no, 6 more episodes to go. But I was just like, he is losing. No. So then you got Matthew flying down to him talking about what will anything be without dreams? Dreams don't effing die. Dreams don't effing die. You better wake up. I said, this is why Matthew needed to be here, Dream, to give you this energy. So then all of a sudden Dream kind of like, it's like, I am like he's stuttering. He's like, I am hope. And it works. Like everything goes back because it's like, in order to combat like anti-life, there has to be life. Like that's the life, and life is technically hope, like someone hoping of there to be life, or the concept of hope of life. Honestly, anti-life would kind of be kind of meta, and so would hope be a meta concept, because if there's nothing, there's nothing. But I was like, okay, I get it. That's why the title says a hope in hell. So she's like kind of annoyed that she got bested, and then you see Dream ask Lucifer like, what kills hope, Lightbringer? And she looking at him like she doesn't answer the question. So I'm like, girl, what kills hope? Is it you? What, like, you don't gotta. But then again, I think she still has hope. So she's like, she doesn't answer it. She tells the demon that has Dream's helm, give that man back his helmet. And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, you gonna tell her no and her no, man? Oh, you about to die. So then Mackenzie or Mechalizzi, whatever that lady name is, you know, Lucifer's right-hand woman, legit snatches the helmet from the demon that doesn't want to give it to him, grabs him by the throat, and throws him over the banister where all the other demons. And then Dream gets back his helmet. And then you have Lucifer saying, what powers do dreams have in hell? Basically saying, like, you really think we about to let you out after you embarrassed me and won this fight? And then Dream got in his saucy petty bag and was basically, what is hell without those being able to dream of heaven? I said, and then he walked away like a bad one, he walked away like a bad bitch. He grabbed his helmet, turned around and strutted off. I said, you better strut. I said, come on now. And so then Matthew was like, are you worried she gonna come after us? Like, you just embarrassed her in front of her whole entire, like, her congregation. And he was like, nah, she not coming. So then they're like, oh, we gotta go find the ruby. Like, do you know where the ruby is? And he said, now I do with my helmet. So he puts the helmet on, the eyes turn red, he uses the sand, and him and Matthew dip to go find the ruby. They actually end up into the shipping container before John gets there. Dream is so ecstatic. He's like, yo, I got my ruby, everything's good. But then when he touches the ruby, he gets like blasted back and it knocks him out. Not like, I mean, he is knocked out. Like he was just kind of like, something's wrong with it, somebody tampered with it, and then he gets douche and falls back. I said, no. And then it ends right there. So let's get on to episode 5. Remember to be bravely authentic. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.